Alright, Shalom. First want to give praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstone, and Ruel. That taught us the truth, and blessings to the elect nation Israel. This is Brother Yakal. This is just a preview because I'm going to do a video tonight. I tried to sleep and then I woke up and I couldn't sleep. But I was trying to get information on, what's happening in Venezuela. And also to always know what is happening now, you always have to look at the past. Alright? So this will just be like a preview, but then tonight I'm going to do the actual one, and I've got a lot of material for it. It's very deep. It's not even. It's not all about oil. It's also about ideology, influence, power, but also when we talk about Esau. Like one of the brothers, he did a video, Esau's greed is disgusting, something like that. And it's true, it is greed, but it's also ideological. And I found a lot of material that backs that up. Because when Chavez was on the scene, alright, he was the guy that was started this Bolivar revolution. Alright, we'll go into that a little bit because the Bolivar Revolution, they used slaves in that revolution as well. Israelites from Benjamin, Levi, Judah, and they were given some kind of rights, not full rights, but with Chavez came into power. And I remember watching a BBC documentary. And the people that were at the top in Venezuela at the time, they were selling oil to America. American companies were profiting big time, and they had this IMF program that crippled the country. So there was times where people wouldn't eat in a day. That's how bad things were before Chavez came. And in this documentary, his nickname was the Indian. I remember it, man. I watched it. It was about a couple of years ago. It was all about Latin America. Talked about Cuba in one episode. Then it talks about Venezuela, because Cuba and Venezuela worked together. Castro and Chavez worked together. And they did programs for the poor. They did cataracts programs. You had doctors going from Cuba, and we know that the doctors in Cuba are top notch. How did Cuba get that with their relationship with Russia? So geopolitics and the scriptures just go together. And in this documentary, they called him the Indian. So he was an Israelite of the tribe of Asher. Alright, and that was his nickname. He came up for the military, and the insiders knew they called his nickname on his documentary, the Indian. Alright, so he was an Israelite from the tribe of Asher, and he was for the poor. Alright, he did a lot of things. He lifted 50% of Venezuelan people out of poverty. The opposition to him was all done by the white, rich class in Venezuela, propped up by the Americans. The American had the embassy there. They had members of the National Guard who were in bed with America, and that's the reason why probably they caught Maduro so quickly and arrested his wife. But it's nothing to do with drugs or anything like that. This is political. It's about the oil, and it's ideological. And I saw this article which stems the point. So tonight I'll do this documentary. I'll call it ASHER'S Oil, to show you the real reason why Esau went in there, but it's also ideological. And this is a waterfall in Venezuela All right, this is an article from BBC News. This is in December 21st, 2009. Chavez seeks to rename Venezuela's Angel Falls. All right, this is when he was president. Chavez has called for the world's highest waterfall, Angel Falls, to be given back to its indigenous name. All right, and I think it's because an American pilot flew over there. All right, the falls, which drop nearly 1 kilometer, 0.6 miles, from a flat-top mountain in the south of Venezuela, are currently named after a 1930s U.S. aviator, Jimmy Angel. All right, is believed to have been the first outsider to see them. All right, so Esau, Edomite, this guy, Jimmy Angel, all right, ashes were scattered over the waterfall. He was a so-called pilot that flew over there, and then America called it Angel Falls, all right. And the reason why they call it Angel Falls, because, you know, the so-called Illuminati believe that Satan is one of the fallen angels and all that bullshit. So it's ideological. And first of all, Venezuela is not in America, so how can you name a monument in Venezuela, you know, and give it a European name? But that's the arrogance of this devil. That's why Chavez dying, having tumor or whatever, people think that the Americans poisoned him some way. All right, and he died. And then Maduro took over. He trusted Maduro with the leadership. And in the case of Maduro, there was a hell of a lot of wickedness that was going on. And in Chavez's case as well. Interference by Babylon the Great, which is America. All right. Mr. Chavez said they should be called Kare Pukapu Meru, the name used by the indigenous Piedmont people of the area, and they're Israelites of the tribe of Asher. All right, Chavez, who accuses the U.S. of plotting against his country, and said thousands of indigenous people had seen the falls before Jimmy Angel discovered them, and that's true. So, so a white man flies over waterfalls, and then you name it that, but the indigenous people have been there for thousands of years. The tribe of Asher. You know? And they have a name for it. So you can see the imperialism right there. And then I'm looking for this documentary here. Well, where is it here? This one. I'm just going to give you a little glimpse of it. Alright? A small glimpse of it. But as I said, this is Ecclesiastes 1:9. The thing that have been is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. So they were interfering in Venezuela even in the 1950s. Why are they flying over there? You know, you're flying over falls and naming an area in a country that don't belong to you. And then you saw Donald Trump, when they arrested Maduro, they put a big what's it called? A big poster saying is it hemisphere? I think it was Donald Trump that said that. Donald Trump. Let's see. I saw it on the news. And basically it's nothing great, you know. See, yeah, this is it. They put this on Instagram. This is our hemisphere. Yeah, but it's so basically it's saying that America, you know, Latin America are just colonies for the Americans, and that's why they got rid of Maduro. All right, and when they talk about Maduro and crackdown and all this stuff, the reason why Maduro was cracking down, and I'm going to show it to you in the video we'll do tonight, is because they were all done by the American companies. Chavez was fighting them. All right, they had assets on the ground. Now I'm going to show you this documentary a little bit and show you that it was white, mainly white Venezuelans, Edomite Venezuelans, that hated Chavez. Alright? Let me play this a little bit.
The problem with this kind of activities is that are very secret, and only a little group of people know the plans.
Chavez confirmed the warning, so when the coup rushed ahead, Chavez was prepared.
Yes, it was a call of alert to decrease those possible risks. That call helped me.
And basically this is talking about what happened when they tried to assassinate Chavez the first time. When he came into power, they tried to assassinate him. Alright, this is about that.
Chavez instructed his oil minister to issue a statement saying that Venezuela would not join an embargo, but it was too late. In the aftermath of the coup, militant Chavistas demanded rough justice for Carmona's crew, but Venezuela has returned to its older, gentlemanly ways.
The National Assembly is investigating the coup. It's quite blatant here, considering that just days ago, these guys were pointing guns at each other.
Inside, Carmona, coup leader, had been summoned from house arrest by the National Assembly. He insisted his bungled ousting of Chavez wasn't really a coup. The Assembly wants to know about American involvement. Later, Chavez deliberately let Carmona escape to Colombia. The Assembly is also investigating why TV stations such as RCTV twisted coverage to aid the coup plotters. Another media mogul under suspicion is Gustavo Cisneros. While the coup was in progress, Cisneros met with Bush's man in charge of Latin America, Otto Reich. Propaganda is Reich's forte. He's infamous for his role in the illegal funding of Contra terrorists who try to overthrow Nicaragua's government. The U.S. Comptroller General reported that Reich's office had, quote, engaged in prohibited covert propaganda activities.
Chavez is a killer! Chavez is a killer!
Let's go! Chavez!
See, so when you're hearing all these documentaries about Chavez is a killer, get him out, these people that are against him, alright, are groups in America, alright, who are working on the ground in Venezuela, alright, to fragment his government and basically get him out. From day one, ever since he got into power. Remember, he got into power and they kidnapped him. Alright, they kidnapped him. And they did a political campaign. And the woman that is in charge of all this, even back then, under Chavez, remember Chavez was the leader before Maduro, alright, is this woman here. She looks old now, what's her name? And the funny thing is, Donald Trump threw her under the bus. They said, you know, when they got Maduro, they said, yeah, they gave her the Nobel Peace Prize, right? Right. This woman, her name is Maria Corina Machado. All right. You know, and you know she's looking old now. But in this document, here she is. Look at her. She looks old, terrible now. But in the actual documentary, in this documentary that I'm showing you, all right, she's in this and she's got an office, and when you go into the office, on the actual screen, on their bulletin board, you know, like you have like a classroom and it's got like a teacher's board, you know, it had a big poster of a pyramid, a satanic pyramid, in the Venezuelan colors. So Chavez, who was a great leader, if you get 50% of people out of poverty in Venezuela, then you're a fantastic leader. All right? Because of the oil, which is prophecy in the Bible, I'll show you that. They wanted this oil, and they wanted it at the prices that they wanted to buy it off. Chevron, ExxonMobil, etc. Chavez was like, no, I'm going to come in and I'm going to nationalize the oil. We have an oil company, all right, and if you want to come and buy our oil, you go and buy it through that oil company, all right, Citco, I think it was called. We'll go into it tonight, and you will buy it at the price that we are selling it. America just wanted it very cheaply. Before he came into power, Chavez, this was the president before Maduro. Do you know how much Venezuela was making when it comes to oil production? How much profit from American companies? It was literally like pennies on the dollar. Pennies, I'm telling you, pennies. Like a barrel of oil, they would make something like 10p. Oh my gosh, this is unacceptable. You nationalize the oil, you establish the barrel price, all right? And if you want to buy it, you buy it. If you don't want to buy it, you don't buy it. ExxonMobil, Chevron, they had to leave Venezuela, you know? America was still buying it because they needed it. Because at this time they went into Iraq, all right, and Afghanistan, so they needed that oil. Okay, so so you see, Chavez was very smart, and this rubbed up the white middle to upper Venezuelan class badly, because instead of them getting tax-free stuff like they did before, all right, no, you have to start paying tax if you earn this much and that much. So it wasn't affecting them badly, but when you've not paid tax or paid minimal tax, and now the tax is going up by 20%, you're going to go out on the street because you want to keep your money. And these are Edomites who live in Venezuela. Edomites, the majority of them are Edomites. They're Spanish descent, all right? And other Europeans, all right? Other Europeans, okay, from neighboring other Latin American countries. So you understand these people that are protesting. Let's keep going.
The coup may have failed, but the opposition hasn't given up. In Venezuela, even the bankers take to the streets.
There's whispers of another coup. The rich, outnumbered by the poor, have little faith in electoral democracy.
Why not wait for the next election to remove him?
Because it's too much time. We have been 3 years in jail, and we want to change the things. We can't wait until the new elections.
They want a coup, not elections. What are they so unhappy about? The answer is here, where the march ended, in this shopping district on the Park Avenue of Caracas, surrounded by upscale malls like this. The oil has made Venezuela's rich even richer, but Chavez, for the first time, has imposed an income tax on these shoppers. Worse, this once tax-free elite of Venezuela, almost all of them very white, have lost their political privileges to poor Venezuelans who, like Chavez, proudly call themselves black and Indian. Because the dark and poor so outnumber the pale-skinned shoppers, anti-Chavez candidates have a very lonely road to drive.
That's why I needed to show it to you. So tonight I'll do that, man. You know, it's very deeper than I even thought. You know, because remember, as I said, the blessing of the tribe of Asher is what? Oil, man. All right, so we're gonna go into that tonight. You know, I was trying to sleep and then I couldn't go back to sleep, so I just started watching it. I knew I was compiling some things to this video, so I thought, all right, let me just let me just do a preview of it. But it's racial. It was racial, man. Remember, he was an Indian. He was indigenous to that land. You know, as I said on that documentary, you know, when they were not doing the coup and stuff to get this bad leader out, they said, you know, the Indian can do it. The Indian can do it, and he was called the Indian in his circles. All right. As when he became the president, they called him El Comandante. All right, leader and so forth. Just like with Hitler, they called him the Führer. In German, Führer means what? Leader. All right. And see, they try to talk about socialism like it's a bad thing. If socialism gets people out of poverty and gets the economy going, what's the problem? All right. Germany did it. They were in 1933, before Hitler came to power, they were poor. All right. Berlin was the sex capital of Europe, with people were poor. There was prostitution everywhere, drugs everywhere. And then within 6 years, when Hitler came to power, the National Socialists, they became a world superpower, just by changing the currency. Just by saying, you know what, screw the old currency, we're going to make a new currency. Kicking the bankers out. And what did you see in that clip a minute ago? In an upmarket, uptown part of the country where Edomites are. And now, the poor Edomites are getting taxed now. Boo-hoo-hoo. Rather than the majority of the country, with 60 or 65% are dirt poor. And those people are mainly Israelites, whether they're Israelites from the tribe of Benjamin, Levi, Judah, because you had slavery over there in Venezuela, or the tribe of Asher. And remember, people mix and migrate. People go from different country to country. Colombia is Asher as well. All right? So you have the poor that were suffering were Israelites mainly, and America came against it. So this is the advantage of knowing who you are. Then you know the reason why your enemy is so against you prospering. All right? Now, Chavez is not going to say that. All them leaders are not going to say, listen, my people are the people of God. All right? They have their own secret societies and oaths and all that kind of stuff. They can't say that. But America knows who those people are. It's in their interest to keep those people poor and to keep the oil flowing in their direction. All right? Deuteronomy 33 and 24. And of Asher, he said, and this is the blessings that Moses gave the tribes. And he said, Asher, he said, let Asher be blessed with children. That's why tribe of Asher have many children. Chavez had 2 daughters, I think. All right, let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. All right, that crude oil, and that's what America wants. All right, nothing to do with drugs or anything like that. Listen, they've been working with the National Guard troops in corrupt ones in Venezuela to push cocaine in America for years. There's a documentary on that. So tonight I'm going to go into that. All right. I was just looking for material for this lesson, and when I saw this guy, Greg Palast, he's the reporter. He did a fantastic job. So Lord willing, I'll do that tonight, man. Let me try and eat and get some sleep again. I'm knackered. I just couldn't sleep, so I thought I'd do this preview. All right. So listen, I pray you're edified tonight. That Lord willing, that lesson be up. Shalom. Shalom.